Time has gone 9 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock, and it's a very good evening to you. Welcome to it. This is our special broadcast, and it's brought to you courtesy of Government Communication and Information System, the GCIS, together with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, together holding hands all the way through to 7 o'clock this evening. Very delighted to be in your company as we come and interact together and come and share information that's very vital for our empowerment and for our insight, really. And I'm very excited to be part of the show this evening. I'll be telling you shortly who I'm joined by, but let me just let you know that if you want to be in touch with us, you're more than welcome to do that. Our toll-free number is 0800 142 446. It's very easy, 0800 142 446. We're available on social media as well. It's at DOJCD_ZA, that's on Twitter, and the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, and that's on Facebook. You're more than welcome to interact with us there. You can speak in any language of your choice. You're more than welcome to do that. You're more than welcome to do that. So the Nguni language is welcome, the Sesotho speaking language is welcome, Afrikaans and English welcome. The name is Karabolan Sestolona Sabapedil Matebele, and tonight I'm joined by Advocate Aaron Raletjena. Am I pronouncing it right, Advocate?
That's correct.
Yeah. So Advocate Raletjena is going to be with us for the next coming hour. I'm very excited because he's going to be talking about something that I've been longing to speak about, and I've heard people interacting on this topic for a very long time. What is that topic, you're probably wondering? Well, it's this one. It's called the role of National Prosecuting Authority, or the NPA, on crimes of gender-based violence. Right? So what's the role of the NPA when it comes to gender-based violence? We're going to be exploring that and touching on issues that's got to do with the NPA and demystifying some of the myths that people have. And me and Advocate were talking about that earlier on in terms of, some people are misinformed in terms of who the NPA are. You'd be very surprised at the stories that are coming out of that. So be part of the show. You can interact with us by asking us questions or commenting, really. It is very easy. All you got to do is to give us a call on our toll-free number. Repeat it. It's 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. Advocate Raletjena, very good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thanks, Karabo, and thanks to everyone that is listening. Let me start to where you left it. What is NPA? Because it's one of the critical issues that we really need to explain. Because as you said it off the record, that a number of people, when they ask you what is NPA, they think that NPA is the scorpions, NPA is the hawks, NPA is everything. Mm-hmm. The National Prosecuting Authority is an institution of government that is the mandate to institute criminal proceedings on behalf of the state. Mm-hmm. That is the NPA. That is the mandate of NPA, to institute criminal proceedings and conduct those criminal proceedings. And it prosecutes all types of crime. Is headed by the National Director of Public Prosecution, that normally people call them the NDPP, who has 4 Deputy National Directors, and they are Directors of Public Prosecutions that are the head of prosecuting services in the high courts where they are appointed, and you got the Special Directors in the Office of National Director, and you got prosecutors and deputy directors of public prosecutions. That is the NPA as a whole. It has 5 at the main business unit. Right. The NPS, which is the umbrella prosecuting services. You got the sexual offences and community affairs unit, which is focusing mainly on the topic for today. I'll expand that later on. Yeah. You got the asset forfeiture unit, which is the unit that is there to ensure that the process of crime are forfeited lawfully to the state. You got the witness protection that is there to make sure that those witnesses that are at risk are actually being protected, to ensure that the evidence is before the court. You also have the LAD, the Legal Affairs Division, which is more on looking at the civil action against the NPA, and then the Special Commercial Crime Unit. So the topic for today, as I said to you, is more relevant to the Sexual Offences and Community Affairs Unit. And what is that unit supposed to do? And what are its objectives? Let me just briefly touch on them so that at least when you go forward, I've put that picture on. Right. Its main objective is to make sure that they improve the successful prosecution of gender-based violence by making sure that the prosecutors are properly trained on the policies, legislations, and developments in the law. They also make sure that they find their work in the communities, and you get this with community affairs. They do the public awareness campaigns. just to ensure that communities are aware what is the GBV and how do they really have to go about dealing with the question of GBV. They also make sure that they reduce secondary victimization through the Tudizela care centers. That is the objective of the soccer unit. It has 5 areas of operations. That is the maintenance section, the sexual offences, the domestic violence, child justice, and human trafficking.
All right. 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. Toll free if you're going to be calling from a landline. Otherwise, if you're calling from a cell phone, give us a call, give us your number. We'll take your number down and call you back. That way, saving you costs. Available on Twitter as well, DOJCD_ZA, as well as Facebook, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. 15 after 6 o'clock. And coming up, we're going to be opening our lines, and you can be part of this show by interacting with us. Linda Mazibugo on controls, as well as Nonhlanhla Ndawonde on telecoms, and we will be very happy to hear from you as to what you've got to say. Let's go to Nombulelo from Tembisa. Nombulelo from Tembisa. Siyaphila kunjani sisami? Ngiyabonga sisi.
I don't have any questions, and the only thing that I have to say is to thank you guys for what you did. Even though Mama the head but I've seen with years I would be hand in
Okay. Nombulelo, if I can remember, you're the one who called in about 4 weeks ago, ne? Konje, you were calling Nyakumbula Ngani nje. Can you remind me, Konje, when you called Umama Begani Kinga, was it intimidation, ne? Right. Can you bring us up to speed? Share with you what were the developments, what happened. You don't have to go into detail and better, those that you don't want to. But just explain to us how were you helped and so forth. Sis Nombulelo ngitshela batshele lapha emuva ukuthi bakhulumele phansi kancane of when can you go to a place where it's a bit quiet, please?
Okay, let me go to a place where it's a bit quiet.
Ngoba ngiyabuya ushajwa ama-gate down ubuya plus angithi manje all right. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. So yeah, I go share this is with one night kanjani. Were you happy with the services that you've received from our colleagues, Babuya Justice Department?
Yes. There was this guy from Umama from Pretoria, and then Umama which a protection order and contactisa but like which are calling supporting the police station, and then the protection order and the protection order then then by signing as a community and the protection or intimidator So far, I think there's a region and everything. But I need to those people, people. There's nothing about now. Like intimidation, it's harassment. I science. So
yeah. All right. Thanks, Sam.
Umama, all right? Yes, Umama, all right.
When all right?
Yes, we are fine, and yeah, I think I was really tired, but now getting to the Pretoria and Kalapona, she's waiting for me to use the English transport, and as well as against a protection order.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Right, thank you so much, Sabulela Gutinati. We were able to be in the position where you can get help.
Okay.
Nombulelo from Tembisa, I really appreciate it. Let's go to Tabo from ZB. Zebediela. Tibos! Wa tseba Thibo sa bona bitšwa la gago ba re tswa Zebediela ngopotsa Thibo so la mo scheme sa me banna. Puchal e reng wara.
ditaba di tsona ke re le mo tsona tsa thuso ya basadi ke go tla ke mo botšiša ke bona ka tlhompho le basadi e fela go na le taba ke le ga di fitlhe ko ba NPA gantši a ke tsebe ba molao ba maphodisa ba kgona tsa gore ba kgona di fetiša batho ba ntse ba go na le phumula ga di-case ba dumella motho ba re case e phumutse so iphumutse so ke la motho ro ka tseno sa e bula gape tala ya kgonagala na.
Wow, okay, all right, okay, ke yona puso fela na le yona
ke yona
go leboge Tibos from Zebediel. Okay, Ranabo said BFM all the way out in Limpopo. 17 before 7. It's amazing how time flies when you're having fun. 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. Anything, Simona, on Twitter? Not yet. At DOJCD_ZA if you want to send your questions on Twitter. Otherwise, Facebook, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Advocate Aaron Raletjena in the studio. He's the senior state law advocate, and he's going to be talking about the role of the National Prosecuting Authority when it comes to issues of crimes of gender-based violence, and he's happy and willing to be taking some of your questions. Let's deal with those questions that have come through so far. Raletjena Tempo Waleja or Mona Banna the protection order, who authorizes them?
Thanks again, Karab. And this is a critical question that he has asked because we need to explain how the protection order works so that people understand that once you obtain the protection order, this is how the protection order works. The protection order is authorized by the magistrate, not by the prosecutor, not by the police. It is a court order. Once you hear the word court order, you must know that it is only the judiciary that can issue that court order, not a prosecutor, not a police officer.
Right.
So only the magistrate. And how that protection order works, protection order does not work only where you've actually obtained it. If you're staying here in Pretoria and you go to the Pretoria Central Police Station, they assist you to get a protection order. It is not only based on the day. Once you go to Cape Town and live in Pretoria, it is still applicable. Somebody cannot say, no, but you got a protection order in Pretoria, therefore I'm going to assault you when you're in Cape Town.
Right.
No, it will be a violation of the particular protection order. Right. And that is when you're saying to people, once there's any violation of any kind of a protection order, go back to the police to report that violation. Don't wait until you get killed, like Seppo is saying.
Yes.
The second issue, I think, what Seppo is trying to tell us is that, look, and which you don't have control over, because once those are the cases that probably he's saying they are hearing them from the media. We have no control of what the media reports and what the media doesn't report. But there's a critical element that I think is telling us that communicate more about the outcomes of the cases so that at least everyone knows what happened to particular cases, exactly those cases that are of public interest. Don't just deal with them and leave it there. But then we need to stress this point so that people understand that everyone is equal before the law.
Right.
We don't treat people in a different way, that no, you're a celebrity, you're an ordinary person, you're a prosecutor, you are a police. No. Once you are an offender, you must be treated like any other offender. Once you're a victim, you must be treated like any other a victim. No one is above the law. No one is below the law.
We've heard about interesting cases where...
The last one that I will ask, you see, and we've been saying this issue, because it's saying to us, some of those domestic violence cases are opened and get withdrawn. The law says, the one that we apply, the Domestic Violence Act, says you cannot withdraw any domestic violence case except with the authorization of the senior public prosecutor. In other words, once a person opens a domestic violence case, that case at the police station must be taken to the senior public prosecutor, who must then apply his mind to the case. Even when the applicant or the complainant comes back and said, I want to file a withdrawal statement, because most of the time they do that. They open a case, 2 days, 5 days, 7 days down the line, they come back and say, no, I don't want to proceed with this case. The police cannot withdraw it as long as it's there. They must take that withdrawal statement together with the docket to the senior public prosecutor for consideration. Then the senior public prosecutor will take a decision whether I want to withdraw or not withdraw based on the facts in the docket.
So say the senior prosecutor says, listen, I'm not going to withdraw this. It still goes to court.
It still goes to court.
And you are still subpoenaed to appear in court. And you can't say, no, but I'm not going to withdraw a statement. So therefore, I get...
No, you can't. Because remember, domestic violence is a unique kind of a crime.
Right.
It's threatening people's life in a very deepest way. Because you're sitting with the very same person that is actually acting that in most time in the same house.
Right.
So you withdraw today, and then 2 months down the line we hear that there's a death in that family of the very same person that has actually been the complainant who has withdrawn the case. Yeah. And then the question that then begin to ask is that, what did the law do to protect that person?
Right.
Was there any other way in which they could not accept it, not her to withdraw and then pursue the case, so that at least at the end of the day there's justice in that particular case?
Right. 0800 142 446. 0800 142 446. I wanted to tap on the issue the protection order in terms of, do they expire? Can you, once you have a protection order granted, well, they expire. Could you say, and what could make them invalid as well? I mean, protection order, you're not allowed to be within the certain distance of this person. There's peace afterwards. Those people, they reconcile or whatever. Does that constitute towards the null and void of the protection order?
It does not automatically lapse.
Okay.
It doesn't automatically lapse. Then if you've reconciled and everything is okay, or you want to amend it, you go back to court.
Okay.
And explain to court why you want to amend those provisions, or why you don't want the protection order to continue. So that at least the recording there can be very proper to say that there was a protection order that was issued, and then people came back to withdraw it.
Okay.
And then so that they know. It doesn't automatically lapse because people are now in the mood to join each other in whatever space, and they say, no, we don't care about the protection order, because if anything happens and he goes and report, that will be a breach of protection order.
Right. Despite the fact that we will some form of reconciliation. So when it's there, it's there.
When it's there, it's there.
For good, for life. Yeah,
yes.
10 minutes. This is Zbonelo calling all the way from Dwendwa. I really appreciate it. 0800 142 446. Let's go to Helen, or Helen rather. Helen, this is Helen from Lekwa, listening via Lekwa FM. Good evening to you, Helen. Rona, legalina. Ngibona leso ngebe phuchis kaku. Sello sa lena se reng Maureen?
Sello sa ka wena se go gore why mo South Africa batho ba bolawa jwalo ka dikgogo, and the house of court la polisa e re tshwantse and go court ka ba le bopaki ba selela ina le se la go ka ngwana ka tsabela ka sita se msena ni wala ke go gore ai ba go le go jela ka tisi tsa high blood ni o fitela bana mwalo
Mehelen ba ile ba reng ka case ya lena ino feletse mo moyeng go ba go na le se leng gore le on bua le ba sa se dira.
I think I would do last year, I think I to go back and Corona or not. I find that I wanted to do a teacher or Panda. Maybe to Panda delivery. I Panda about makes a regulation. I will cover that they give the stress. You will have formula and a little bit of Obama. Come and set stress to kuna ona wanaga kwa wale ka wako stele la nambo.
Okay. Mele no tlo dira lutsepe di go vale ne se ke tlo sendira on vale go khopela di producers ya na gore di tše no real na re tlo le founela ka mamora gore tla dira gore go bana le batho ba ileng gore ba tla tla ba le thusha ke ye nngwe ke tlo kgopelang gore e rie gone jwale ke tla kgopela advocate ka mo a ramabedi a mararonyana re ko gore direction e re tla e tšeang e tla ba e feng lena le tla tšheletša mo radiong ya lena kere
ke tlo theletša tata go bana
ke a leboga magorena 747 that was Helen from Lekwa FM. We're definitely going to follow that one up. Right, let's take Apiwe from Grahamstown. Apiwe.
Hello.
Hi, Apiwe. Apiwe, please pardon me, but I could not hear you very clearly. Do you want to maybe reposition your phone and try to give it to us again, because I missed everything you said?
So I'm asking that earlier this year the NPA had dropped the alleged assault charges that were put against the ANC MP Duduzi Manana, right?
Okay.
So my question is, does this not contribute to the perpetual violence, particularly that meted out, or that speaks to gender-based violence in South Africa? Would that not be one of the elements that contribute towards the perpetual cycle of gender-based violence in South Africa, where people who hold, massive power are not necessarily, they don't feel the justice system?
All right. Thank you so much, Apiwa from Grahamstown. We're definitely going to jump into that. I really appreciate your question. Apiwa says, hey, listen here. Charges were dropped. The one of the officials then, Duduzi Manana, had charges of GBV laid against him, and later they were dropped. She's quite worried that doesn't this perpetuate really the extent at which we're seeing gender-based violence developing and mushrooming in our country, which actually links to an earlier question that we had from, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Sampo. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Sampo, or one of the callers saying, listen, but people of high profile, their cases just disappear. Well, Apiwa in this instance, she's saying charges being dropped of a high profile person. Doesn't that give a problem, really, Advocate?
You see, Tsepo, that is why we want this kind of shows, so that we explain these issues very well. I'm not going to be able to explain what happened in the case of Manana because it's not on the roll.
Of course.
We can't discuss something that is not active.
Of
Otherwise,
course, yeah.
We are violating someone's rights in that particular space. We need to make sure that we become careful and respect other people's rights. But people need to understand that each and every case is treated on its own merit. Then once the case's merit requires it to be dealt in a particular way, and which is the only legal way to be dealt with, and which is also the correct way to be dealt with, that decision of the prosecutor can be taken, and that case can be dealt in that particular way. Right. Because in certain instances, you cannot really proceed with a case where you realize that I'm just going to be able to waste court's time, and it's not in the interest of justice to really proceed with this case and waste court's time. But the other issue that was raised here by Sbonello, I think that's Sbonello, right, on human trafficking.
That's right, yeah.
Human trafficking is one of those sensitive crimes that are actually happening in South Africa currently. And we're always encouraging people to say that don't keep quiet and wait, because as I said at the beginning, all the cases get reported at the police station. Go to the nearest police station and make sure that you report whatever that suspicion that you have on human trafficking. They will then give it the requisite attention and bring it to us for prosecution. And that's what we are pleading to people, that don't sit with something that you suspect that it might constitute a criminal offense and then wait for a particular time. No, report it immediately so that the law enforcement agency can get involved with it. You were right to say that to Auselen that you'll make a follow-up on that, because it sounds like there's something that she wants the outcome of investigation to be dealt. But the only way in which you can do that is for her to provide you with all the details, the case number, the name of the investigating officer, if it was before the court, which court, and probably the prosecutor, so that at least they can give you the report in terms of what happened in that particular case.
All right, so we'll definitely get in touch with some of our colleagues at the department who can help us. Mehelene batatla tusha re tla le bona ba batswang lefapha la Justice and Constitutional Development ba tla ria gore ba le founele and then ba khona bulishana le lena. Let's speak to Vusi from Umlazi. Mavusana. Vusi kunjani mfethu? Ngiyaphila mfethu, umbuzo wakho uthini?
Umbuzo wami uthi into engikhuluma lapho ngimlaleni ngiyamuzwa, kodwa manje mina yaba nenkinga mfethu la bazona reporting. Nanginemali nje la South Africa futhi into yakho ayinayo. abanenkinga le marobhothini ngashayiswa enye imoto ngavula icala ngomhla ka 15 July. Kodwa manje ayabonakala nje namanje ngitshena ukuthi le police station ngashayiswa intombazana. I-accident report yenziwa indoda.
Okay. Okay. Vusi ngizocela uvala umsakazo wakho. I can hear myself in the background.
Okay, so manje
ngicela uvala umsakazo. Valan. Sure mfethu. Bayivalile umsakazo, valile radio. Okay, Mavusani ngiyakuzwa mfethu. So you had an accident in June, and then nakwamanje you haven't heard anything from the police nor anyone from the legal fraternity.
Mfethu ngayireport ngahamba ngoba ngashayiswa intombazana kodwa manje accident report yenziwa indoda. So manje uma ngabe sekufanele ngivule icase ngivulile lapha mangifika umseshi ngitshela into engacacile mangabe unenamani nje la eSouth Africa mfethu into zakho zibheka phansi.
Mawuthi ukutshela into engacacile mfethu ukutshela utheni kuwe?
Umseshi bathi icase izongena from June up until now. Namanje ngaphindela esipaneni ngalimala nemoto akuqala into engenayo ngoba ngithi sohlangana ecaleni nalomjita ahlangana naye kodwa ngashayiswa intombazana sekuyindoda manje. Yabo uma ungenamanje la eSouth Africa into zakho zibheka phansi ngoba yonke le na amaphoyisa afika ku-accident report ayibona intombazana yangishayisa kodwa manje accident report yenziwayo ku-accident endaweni.
Okay, but walivula icala ne?
Ngalivulile kumanje icala nginayo case number.
Unayo case number?
Yebo.
Okay, don't worry ke wena mfethu. Now again, because you've got a case number, walivula icala, we will get somebody from the department uzakushayela, uzadibana nawe, and then you can maybe get assisted from that point. How about that?
Kodwa ngiyangena kakhulu ukuthi manje kumanje angisazi manje ukuthi ngizokwenza kanjani. Ngibizile amaphoyiseni ngala ukuthi azongifonela athulile akangifonela kodwa ngavula icase into yami ngibheke phansi nje yonke mangena manje la eSouth Africa into zakho zibheka phansi.
All right,
ngiyenzele nisho ngayo la radio.
All right, mfethu. Yeah, ngiyabonga mfethu. Now we'll get somebody to be in touch with you. That's Vusi calling us all the way from Mlazi, and here's Mervin. Is it Mervin, if I'm not mistaken? Mervin from Cape Town? It's Mervin from Cape Town, right? Merwan from Cape Town. Merwan going once, going twice. All right, let's go to those questions, Advocate. Vusi shuwala. Kenya ngafela rumlele ka the issue or manga namali mfethu lapha eSouth Africa indaba zakho zibheka. All right, let's jump into that. It's a myth that I want to demystify, really.
Correct. You're right. Because,
go for it.
You see, these are the issues, and I think the start of the problem is that people does not understand the complaint mechanisms in the criminal justice system. With the prosecution, once you're not satisfied with the decision of a particular prosecutor, you still go to what is called a senior public prosecutor, that you can go and report and say, no, I'm not happy because there's nothing happening.
Right.
So that they can make follow-up. And if you're not happy with what the senior public prosecutor has done, there's a chief prosecutor. Above that senior public prosecutor, there's a chief prosecutor. And above the chief prosecutor is what is we called the DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions.
Right.
Because that is the structure in terms of which the complaint mechanisms within the NPA should go. But once you've exhausted all this process and there's nothing's coming up, then you are required to elevate it to the national office, where it is the Office of Finance in terms of making sure that your complaint is addressed in terms of the policies and the law. And obviously, with the SAPS, they've got their own complaint mechanisms that we needed to make sure that these people knows about it. But I'm not privy to speak about those issues about the SAPS. Hence, I'm giving you the picture in terms of what the NPA is able to do once you got a complaint against a particular case that is not moving, or you are not satisfied with a particular decision. Because a number of people say, no, but I don't even understand. I don't even have the reasons why this case was withdrawn. I don't even understand the reasons why the accused is now on bail. I don't understand the reasons why this person is given these low sentences. So that is the responsibility upon prosecutors to explain that the following circumstances led to the following outcome of the case. At least everyone knows. And once you know, you are able then to reconcile yourself with that knowledge and live your life on.
Right. PAJA touches a bit on that. If you know PAJA, Public Access to Justice Act, that touches a bit on that in terms of accessing justice from government. So you can do that. But having said that, advocate, issue about, like you've explained now, I can be about oh, really? So I can elevate this thing. But how do you go about doing that? Because and then they are not satisfied. But in terms of elevation, what is it they do? Do they do the whole thing bring me your manager, or how does it work?
No, you see, NPA has introduced what is called, at the court level, court preparation officers.
Right.
Which are the people that are actually explaining and orientating people around the court. So if you got a chance to get to court a bit earlier, you are allowed then to speak to those people and then let them know what is the structure of NPA here and whose office is where. They're going to be able to tell you, this is the office of control prosecutor, this is the office of the prosecutor, this is the office of the senior public prosecutor. So you have knowledge by then when you get there, because most of the time, if you get to the prosecutor's office, they're already busy preparing for the court.
Right.
They might not even have that sufficient time to do that. Hence, the introduction of the court preparation officers, who are meant to be a link between the prosecution and the communities in terms of the court process.
Right. Okay, let's take a last caller, and that's going to be it for the last two. Okay, I'll go for last two. Let's go for Raymond in Greytown. Raymond, good evening. Good evening to you, Raymond.
Yes, hello.
I'm good at yourself, sir.
Good, thanks, Karabo, and good evening to the advocate as well. And thank you for the good program. I just want to check, and I'm not sure, perhaps it might be a vague question, but in a situation where we have it general knowledge that the person is, being in a gender-based violent relationship, and the person is not willing to come forward because they want to keep it confidential for whatever reason. We who are close to the person, how best can we involve entities like NPA to make sure that perhaps there's a formal way of dealing with these things and perhaps assisting the poor person? Because sometimes when you try and blow the whistle, you are seen as interfering in someone's relationship. So I was thinking that how best can we bring it to the attention, and perhaps people who have the know-how on how to make a person perhaps open up and talk can be able to do so. Is there any way that an NPA, an entity, can be able to assist in such a situation?
Thank you so much, Ray, all the way from Greytown. Let's go to Spumelele. Peter Retief, Spumelele. Sabona ma. Ngiyakuzwa sisami kunjani?
Ngiyaphila.
Nanso umbuzo wakho thini?
Okay, kune case la futhi a pending case la khona umama owahlunyezwa khona umqashi wakhe wamrape ne. Ayimrape mayatshela unkosikazi wakhe wamshaya, and then wahamba yovula ama case ayi2. Emva kwalokho lena ukuthi ushawe lo nkosikazi bayi-withdraw kwaqhubeka le esaqhubeka manje i-rape. So azange understand ukuthi why ithunyele enye iqhubeke eyi1. Kwenza kanjani lokho ukuthi ithunyele enye case ngaphandle kwakhe yini ukuthi athi uyayicima case?
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much, Spumelele. We will jump into those questions very quickly. Spumelele calling all the way from Piet Retief. Those are our two last callers, really. We're not going to be taking any callers from now. We've got 3 minutes to go, so we're going to try to jump into these very quickly. So let's start with the last one. Advocate Spumelele says 2 cases were being reported. A sexual assault was reported. Due to that, obviously one goes and try to speak to the wife and say, look, your husband has sexually assaulted me. They get assaulted as well. The one is dropped, which is the assault with intent to cause bodily harm, I suppose, and the one still exists. So how does the one get dropped and the one continues? Can they all continue all at the same time?
You see, that's exactly what I was saying earlier on, that in those instances, that's where they need to approach the senior public prosecutor for an explanation. because we can't answer something that we don't have a docket before us.
Right.
I don't know the reasons. I don't know the consideration that they did. I don't know what is the evidence in the docket. I don't know the statement that would say.
But is that a possibility? Something like that, is it possible that it had happened? Is it normal?
I'm not sure whether it's normal, but it's legal.
Yeah, well, is it legal? I think that's correct.
Remember, a decision to prosecute or not to prosecute is based on evidence.
Right.
So the evidence is going to direct the prosecutor whether to take a decision to put the matter on the roll and prosecute, or not to put it on the roll and not prosecute, or put it on the roll and realize that upon sufficient investigation, nothing comes out for that person to be prosecuted.
Right.
And you can't prosecute that. Like I said earlier on, it's going to be the court's waste of court's time. The other issue that has been raised earlier on the issue of duty to report from Great House. You see, that is exactly what the law wants people to do. That in instances where a person doesn't want to speak, because you got instances where children are getting abused, they can't report on themselves. But you got a knowledge of what is happening there, and you know that those children are living in fear. They can't act on that. You got a duty in terms of the law to go and report that to the police, so the police can take it up. I realize you're taking on your time.
I was just making sure that we're not running into the rain, really.
Okay, that's
fine. No, that's fine. You can go ahead.
And that duty is legislated, so that people understand that you don't have to say it's not interference in the relationship. It's clearly helping the community to build itself where it's supposed to be, because everyone wants to live in a community that is safe from violence. Because violence, as people are saying, is a war. And a war is a threat to any security of any person. So we don't want that kind of an arrangement. We want to make sure that together as NPA and and the government as a whole, we work together to make sure that we've got a peaceful communities that we are living in peace again.
All right. I understand that. Something is telling me, something in my mind says to me, maybe that's easier, or that's easy when it's got to do with children. When you report, when you're a third-party reporter for something, for a gender-based violence act that has happened on behalf of somebody who doesn't want to go there as an adult, I be complicated when it comes to issues or witnesses, and that person does not want to go forth because
you see, Karabo, there are circumstances that push people not to report. And once you report the case, those circumstances are going to be very clear. You might find that the reason why, I'm just giving an example, the reason why a person is not reported is because he's sitting in a domestic violence relationship. He's been beaten up and down, and the person understands that if I go there, this person is going to kill me. Who is going to rescue that person if no one's going to take action to report that matter?
True.
So we're just putting that person in a very dangerous situation where the person is not going to be able to live his or her own life.
Right.
So if you are aware that something is happening in that house, make sure that you report. Let the law enforcement agencies take over the matter and see what is it that can come out of it. You might find that your reporting was actually a lifesaver.
Right.
So don't sit with the life-saving mechanisms and then say, I'm going to be told that I'm interfering in somebody's affairs. It's not like that. You cannot interfere in any affairs where there's a criminal activities happening.
Are you able to report anonymously?
You are.
But when it comes to issues, it was reported, therefore we need evidence from you as somebody who reported. How do you deal with that?
Remember, when you report, you're going to explain the circumstances under which you are reporting.
Right.
And then you are saying, I request you to do an investigation because my suspicion is that a criminal activity is going on there.
Right.
But I don't want to be known. I want you to go there and do thorough investigations and see what is happening.
Right.
So you are helping in terms of ensuring that there's peace in that particular space, or you are helping in terms of ensuring that you're stopping that criminal conduct from proceeding.
Right. Right, there's the words of Advocate Aaron Raletjena, Senior State Law Advocate coming from the Department of Justice and coming from the NPA, I beg your pardon. The role of National Prosecuting is the NPA, right? You're coming from?
It's the NPA.
Mudisan. For a minute there I got confused, like, hey, from the NPA, really appreciate it. And we're talking about the role of a National Prosecuting Authority, the NPA, on crimes of gender-based violence. We really appreciate it. Advocate Raletjena, thank you so much for your time, for being here. So much that we've learned, and we really, really appreciate it.
Thanks to you too.
All right, thank you so much for the technical team that made possible that this show reaches you. That's Linda Mazibugo leading the whole pack on sound and signal distribution there. Thank you so much, Mr. Mazibugo, as well as Nontlanhla Ndawonde on telecoms, making sure that you're calling in. You can reach us, and we're able to help you. And we've got a number of our learners coming from an institution of higher learning that have made sure that this program happens. They've done all the technical preparation of of this show prior to it happening, and they've done an absolutely amazing job. Big ups to you guys. I really appreciate it. As well as Levi coming from our Department of Video, making sure that you will get this on YouTube when it's ready in the next coming days. From myself, Karabolans, Stolana Sabapedil Matevele. Let's drop it here today until we meet again next time. Ciao for now.